Welcome again to my favorite topic, weight loss. We're going to look at the hierarchy of how we use the hierarchy of the pyramid with what I call the 3 M's. There's so many ways that people try to control their weight. Now we have what we call truth in most cases, facts, things that if you do, they will always guarantee you the outcome that you want. So we will use a pyramid in this instant, and we will divide it into 3 areas. And right here at the top is what we're going to call mindset. This is the 3 M's, the 3 M's of weight loss. Mindset is everything. Mindset is where you need to work out first before you can lift that barbell or be able to take that spoon and eat that salad. Because if your mindset is not right, there is a big chance that all these other 2 M's are not going to work. One of the biggest things that we have to look at when it comes to this, and I will use the sign of a bulb here. This is a bulb. The minute that bulb goes on in your head, the minute you start talking to yourself, and the minute you start believing that you can achieve the kind of body that you want, achieve the kind of goals that you've set for yourself, then it becomes much easier for these other things to be aligned. When it comes to mindset, there are a couple of things that we have to look at. Number one here is you have to look at your belief system. Do you believe that you can lose weight? Or are you one of these people in your self-belief that you say, I've tried so many times, it doesn't work? Do you tell yourself that genetically I come from a big family, no matter what I do, I've got my mother's body? Until you change your belief system, chances are you're going to be antagonistic. You will consistently keep on fighting against yourself. Mentally, you need to cultivate patience. Losing weight is not a sprint. You're not going to start losing weight today and in the evening you've lost all the weight. I've had cases of women coming to me in the gym in the evening when they come from work. They say, I started dieting this morning and I haven't lost 12 kilos. I'm giving up. So you have to get that into your mindset and realize that this is something I'm going to do over a long period of time. And there are steps that I have to undergo to make sure that that happens. The other thing you have to build here is discipline. It doesn't matter how big your goals are. It doesn't matter how motivated you are. If you don't have personal discipline, you'll become a slave to your cravings. Most people that are successful are people that have very high levels of personal discipline. And personal discipline simply means that you have to get into a contract with yourself to say that I'm going to be uncomfortable for now so that I can get what I want going forward. Now, there's 2 ways for you to live your life. Either you love what you're doing and you hate who you're becoming, or you hate what you're doing but you love who you're becoming. And I'll give you a very easy example. You can enjoy eating pizza and drinking beer every day, but you hate who you're becoming when you look at yourself in the mirror. You hate who you're becoming when you can't sleep properly. You hate who you're becoming at the end of the month when you realize that you can't pay your bills because most of your money are going to do things that you don't like. Or the other way, you can hate exercise. You hate how it feels. Exercise is painful. You feel like your heart is right there in your throat. You hate the pain. You hate the trainer. But when you look at yourself in the mirror, you smile because you're becoming a better version of yourself. There is always a price to be paid. So whether you like it or not, either you pay the price of pain in the beginning and then pleasure in the end, or you pay the price of pleasure in the end and pay pain in the end. There is no way you're going to avoid pain in your life. Pain is part of human beings. Either you avoid pain by embracing pleasure in your youth, and then you're going to go through the pain of being a sick person as you get older. Or you embrace paying the price of pain in your youth taking care of yourself, looking after yourself, eating right, exercising, drawing up a budget where you don't buy things because your friends buy things, and then when you get older, you don't have any pressure of physical ailments, you don't have pressure, money pressure. All these things come under mindset. So it is more an ideological rebirth than anything else. If your mind is not right, it doesn't really matter what you do. Everything starts with our mind. Any area of your life that you're struggling with, any area of your life that you have shortcomings, those are areas of ignorance. Those are areas where your thinking is not right. The people that you're fighting in your life, the debt that you owe, the things that you bought to try and impress people that don't even know you with money you don't have. It's an ideological issue that we have to work with. Fix your mind and the rest changes. Then number 2 here, we have what we call your metabolism. This is, no, sorry. Number 2 here is what we call movement. Number 2 here is movement. For lack of better word, I'll call it exercise. This is the one thing that regulates everything that you do. Movement is one thing. Exercise is one thing that is very much in your control. You can decide how much intensity to put in, how many times to train in a week, how often you can train. You can decide either to do weights or do cardio, but whichever way that happens, you cannot live a good life and have the best health if you avoid movement. Clearly, still water breeds disease. A body where blood is not flowing is a dead body. It's then the same thing. If you just keep money in your pocket without spending it, that money loses value because it gets devalued. And it's the same thing with life. If you're not moving, you are dying. So we have to bring in movement, and movement comes in 3 distinct different ways. Number 1 here is what we call cardiovascular fitness. Cardiovascular fitness is all to do with your heart. And this is things that we call things like cardio, running, walking, doing things that get you out of breath. Now you have to understand that your heart is a muscle. And like any other muscle, it consistently keeps on being, it needs to be stressed to a maximum level and then given enough time for it to recover. The stronger the muscle, the less time it beats, the lower your heartbeat, and in most cases, it regulates your blood pressure. So your heart here, cardiovascular exercise is very, very important. Then we have strength training. This is non-negotiable. What are the characteristics of an old person? It's that. We call that sarcopenia because they are losing muscle. When you lose muscle, gravity starts pulling you down. One battle that will never win in life is gravity will pull you until one day you're lying flat in your coffin. But as long as you're still alive, you consistently have to keep on fighting gravity. When you wake up in the morning, look at your face in the mirror, you'll see one side of your face is pulled, the side that you are lying on, because gravity is consistently trying to pull you towards it. And the best way for us to fight gravity, of course, is strength training. And when we talk about strength training, I'm not talking about heavy weights. Your body itself is a gym. How many push-ups can you do? Can you do a squat? Can you do a pull-up? There's so many people out there that cannot do 10 push-ups. There's so many people out there that cannot sit below their knees. Traditionally, if you look at our African women that live in the villages and across the world, if you look at the Asian women, Chinese women, women in India that are in rural areas, people that sit on the ground, they don't suffer from constipation. But the average African woman or the city dweller, one of the best supplementation in the shops that is selling is most people are constipated. Most women I talk to at the gym, they go to the loo on average once or twice a week. Now, can you imagine how a person feels when they don't go to the toilet? Technically, if you don't go to the toilet or you're going to the toilet once or twice a week, technically you're full of shit. And if you're full of shit, you cannot feel better. So one of the things that we need to do here to get you out of that state is building muscle. And one of the best way is to get into a squat position first thing in the morning. Traditionally, we used to use the pit latrines. We didn't sit on it, we had to squat. And in squatting that latrine, it forced your anal muscles to contract. And that muscle made it easier for people to be able to flush out all the toxins. Then we have your stretching here, mobility and flexibility. Mobility and flexibility. Most people, unfortunately, cannot even lift their leg at the back and touch their toes. Majority of people cannot even lean forward and touch their toes. Majority of people cannot lean on the side and touch the side of their knee. People have lost mobility. And if you look at most people, they walk like that. And I call that they are suffering from bum amnesia. Because majority of people are sitting a lot. The average person sits between 8 and 12 hours a day. Your bum is the biggest, most powerful muscle on your body. Now, if your bum is asleep, automatically it means that your metabolism is dead. And if your metabolism is low, it doesn't matter how much you do, you're not going to lose weight. The biggest reason why we bring in movement, number one, is to change the shape of your body. The point of doing weights is to give you a small little waist, broaden your shoulders, make your legs nice and long. There is no need for you to be training. You lose weight, but you're losing more muscle than you're losing fat. So you eventually become a thin fat person. And a thin fat person is a person that was 60 kilos, they've lost 10 kilos, they're 50 kilos, but if you look at their body structure, everything looks the same. So you become what we call a toffee, thin on the outside, fat in the inside. Yeah, toffee is one of those things you'll see it a lot with women that go to these normal commercial gyms. They are uncomfortable to do weights because they've never known how to do weights. And that's why here at Dream Body Fitness, we have what we call fitness marches on the floor. We have structured training. When you come in holistically, all these things are factored into your training so that you can get fitter, you can get stronger, you can be mobile, because if you can move better, you can live better. And then the last one here is the engine. This is your metabolism. Your metabolism is the engine of the body. Your metabolism is the fire that burns the fat. Your metabolism is very much determined by the quantity and quality of food that you eat. There are foods, if you eat, they lower your metabolism. And there are foods that if you eat, they increase your metabolism. Now, your metabolism is driven entirely by hormones. And your hormones are a response to the foods that you eat. When it comes to this, we have three kinds of food types. We have what we call carbohydrates. And under carbohydrates, these are starchy foods. Under carbohydrates, we divide it into what we call starchy or complex carbohydrates. These are the foods when your body has to break it down into the right ratio for it to be used as glycogen. It gets broken into glucose, and then your body stores it as glycogen. Starch or complex carbs are things like your wild rice, sweet potatoes. We're talking about things like jango oats. We're talking about seeded bread. They all fall under this. Plantains, cassavas, those things fall under this. Then we have what we call simple processed or sugary carbs. These are the things that taste very good here, but they end up on your hips. You know these foods. You know the foods that they make you feel good, but they make you sad in the end. Because whatever you eat in private, sister, you're going to wear it in public. And these are the foods when you go into the supermarket, while you're waiting for the cashier to open up, everything that is on the aisle. These are your sweets. These are your sweets. These are your orange juices. These are your dried fruits. These are your cakes. These are any of those things that you know they're not good for you. They fall under this. And then number 3, we have what we call fiber or roughage. This is the best form of carbohydrates in terms of your metabolism. It fills you up, but it has no caloric content, which means chemically your body has no negative response to it. These are your vegetables, some selected fruits. Most people, unfortunately, don't eat enough fiber. Excuse me. And if you don't eat enough fiber, you suffer from constipation. And for people that have high blood pressure, people that are suffering from diabetes, people that are suffering from gout, this is one of the best mechanisms for you to make sure that you change or control the amount of sugar that is floating around in your bloodstream. The second macronutrient here is protein. Anything that flies, anything that swims, and anything that walks, apart from human beings, is a protein. Now we have 2 sources of protein. We have animal protein and we have plant protein. And then in animal protein, we divide that into 2 groups. We have protein from animals like cows, animals like sheep, animals like goat that has got 4 stomachs, which is the best protein for human beings. Because of the rumen in their stomach, the bacteria in the rumen breaks down whatever these animals eat and turns it into the protein, which becomes the source of that. It becomes this stored muscle in my body if I eat that. But when you get things like chicken, you get things like pig, things that have only 1 stomach, you have to be very careful the source of those animals, because entirely whatever those animals were fed, they don't have the rumen, the bacteria in their stomach to break it down. And in doing that, that fat, when you feed a pig, when you feed chicken something like corn, that corn fat turns into the fat in that animal, and when you eat it, it increases your omega-6s and automatically makes you become a sick person because you have high blood pressure, you get diabetes, and you get high cholesterol, and all of a sudden they put you on high blood medication, they put you on things like statins, and all those things are because of metabolism. Irrespective of what you do here, if you don't get your metabolism, which is your nutrition, right, you will struggle for a very long time. How often do you know people that are very fit, they train consistently, they train very hard, but nothing happens because their intake exceeds their output? Because if you're going to eat a pizza, you might need easy 30, 36 hours of consistently training in the gym for you to be able to finish that pizza. But are you going to tell me you're going to eat only 1 pizza for the next 2 days? Of course not. You're eating it as one of the meals. So when it comes to this, at Dream Body Fitness, we talk about insulin sensitivity. How do we reduce the amount of insulin in your bloodstream so that your body becomes a fat burner rather than a sugar burner? You lose weight easier. And also bringing in things like intermittent fasting for people that are struggling with lifestyle diseases. Movement is your leverage. This is one thing that you decide how quickly the sugar that is in your bloodstream, how do I get it out faster so that my body does not store whatever I eat as fats, but it uses it as sugar. Think of yourself as a hybrid car. A hybrid car has the ability to use either electricity and petrol or using solar and petrol. And for that to happen, certain ratios, there's things that have to happen inside this body, this car. And the human body is exactly that. The human body is a hybrid version. And for us to bring our body to start using the stored fat as their main source of fuel, it means we have to switch off all this sugar that is coming in. And that is where our metabolic flexibility comes in as part of the strategy that we use at Dream Body Fitness. Which of these do you struggle with? I'm welcoming you to come to Dream Body Fitness and do your 7-day reset challenge. See where you are. Let's do an audit on your 3 M's and see which one you lack. and how do we make you become a high-fat burning human. Share, like, subscribe to the channel, click on the link, and God willing, I hope to see you soon at Dream Body Fitness. And this is your coach, from my heart to your heart, Mululu X.